I never thought I'd say this, but I actually kind of want to play a Fire Emblem game now. Guts vs. Dimitri came out to critical acclaim. No, like, seriously, I see so many people praising this episode. It even got on trending, beating out a Mr. Beast video. You know you've done something right if you do that. Anyways, what do I think of the episode myself? Did the humongous amount of hype from the crew hold up? Did it live up to expectations? Let's just see how good Potato King W number, 57 really is. Starting with analyses, I love them a lot. Dimitri's was kind of confusing at points, but I think that just comes with the territory, so I'll let it pass. Other than that, I don't really have any other problems. They were able to cover both of their stories very well as how insane both of their tragedies and accomplishments are. As someone who has been a fan since Season 2, I guess it's about time that this new generation of fans gets traumatized by Guts' backstory. Dimitri's analysis had the more memorable jokes in my opinion, but that doesn't mean Guts' isn't just as good. Honestly, I think I prefer them just going over how insanely traumatic Guts' life is, as well as how insanely strong he is to combat it. The cutaway in it also is pretty good. Not anything notable, but it does what it needs to. I loved the cutaway in Dimitri's analysis though. I was really hoping they'd keep the joke about the host arguing over which house was the best, and they did, and I'm so happy. Besides that, we have stuff like Boomstick getting shotgun shells for his first crush and saying peak war crimes, which, to be fair, that second one made me laugh in an ironic sense. Also, Boomstick wanting more pay for teachers is based as hell. I loved both rundowns. I don't know if I'd consider them my favorites of the season. Both of Chosenborn's rundowns and Obito's gives it a run for its money, as well as Stitch's, which is more so just because I have a bigger attachment to him than any other character this season so far. I'll just have to give them more time to let it sink in. Alright, now let's get to this fight. God, I am so excited to talk about it. Normally I'd go over negatives first, but I don't really have any. I have a couple, but I'd rather just get to them when I get to them. The fight does start with them already fighting, which is pretty inherently lame, but like I said in the past, a small setup allows for more fighting, so it works, I guess. And they do at least have a small dialogue exchange where Dimitri asks what is pushing Guts to his rampage, which Guts replies to by telling him to shut the hell up. The voice actors did incredible. To be honest, I don't even have a preferred performance this time. Xander Mobus returns from having voiced characters like Robocop, Wolverine, and Agumon all the way back in Season 2 to voice Guts here. And I find that funny because, one, Guts was a character in Season 2, and also, they played the buy list Smash announcement when they introduced them. I don't know if that was intended since they got the Smash announcer to play Guts, but it's funny nonetheless. He does well when he's just the brooding swordsman, but once he goes into his berserker armor, he really shines with the filter over his voice adding to the amount of barbaric rage in his veins as he screams and roars in pure anger. Kevin Rivera making his first appearance on a death battle also shines as Dimitri. He truly does feel like a formerly chivalrous noble turned into a mindless, murderous maniac. I love alliteration. Getting both his more controlled and sadistic side down. Both actors did amazing in their performances. We get some sword on spear sparring, which is well choreographed. Dragon Slayer doesn't really feel as weighty as it should be in my opinion though. Guts kind of swings it a little too fast, so it doesn't really feel like the 300-pound hunk of metal it is. I only really noticed that at the beginning, though. He does it again sometimes, but it's not really as prominent, I guess. However, that's not even the main thing I'm paying attention to. Let's talk about the track. Fireborn is so good, and only matched by very few tracks throughout the show's history, like Mighty, Hedge of Tomorrow, and God's Hand, the track for this episode. Man, what an immaculate score. The lyrics describe both perfectly, and the backing music feels perfectly tailored to a battle of two who have nothing left to lose. I love it so much, from the haunting vocals adding to the despair, and the guitar solo adding to the sheer ferocity. It has quickly climbed up to one of my favorite tracks of the entire show. We have some cool visual effects with Dimitri's magic lightning and wind sweep. I think that might be, both look really cool nonetheless. Guts then fires his barrage of arrows at Dimitri, who parries and dodges before getting deja vu'd with Guts throwing a knife at his chest. Definitely won't strike any memories there. We then have one of my favorite tiny little sequences in the fight where Guts uses the Dragon Slayer's side to overpower Eredbar, slam Dimitri in the face, and then use that in order to gain momentum and slice Dimitri clean in the back. I don't even know why, but I just love the small little combo Guts does there. They even dampen the music to sell the sheer impact. Kind of like symbolizing how the hit made Dimitri faint and unsteady, only for the slice at his back to be a sharp and painful snap back to reality. Love it. Dimitri's "how dare you" feels a little silly, but it's made up for him threatening to rip Guts' head off and have the dead claim their vengeance. Again, only for Guts to tell him to shut the hell up by headbutting him in the face. Dimitri uses some magic, electrocutes Guts, which they bring up in the conclusion to be a vantage point for him given his armor as a conductor, which I thought was a really cool way of looking into that. Then he creates a wave of icy spikes, Guts throws some bombs because he had enough rupees, and I gotta say, I much prefer how they treated the hand cannon here than in Guts vs. Nightmare. That episode treated it as more of a surprise that merely startled Nightmare. It didn't really feel like it held a lot of weight behind it. Here, though, it messes Dimitri up and sends him back, not even mentioning the giant flames it causes on an icy landscape either. The Berserker armor convinces Guts to yield to him, and Dimitri hears the pleas of his fallen ancestors as the two share the line of how they'll kill them all, down to the last one. That part is very amazing in its own right, but it's merely a lead into their transformations. Well, I mean, Dimitri's power-up is just okay, but if it gave them more time to work on Guts's, then I am very okay with it. The Berserker armor coming out, forcing his broken arm to repair itself with the sound effects making it sound crunchy and painful, and the roar of rage as he barrels towards Dimitri is, in my opinion, one of the best super form transformations we've had in recent years. Just the sheer amount of weight it holds while knowing it's a last resort for Guts gives it the sort of seriousness we missed with Guts vs. Nightmare, where he got into it because it was a little too hot and killed Inferno in one hit. It was not treated as the monstrous and corruptible thing it really is. I love how they redeemed themselves with it. And with that, we just have the two going at it, spilling blood everywhere, which actually gives the reason for the white snow to let it pop out more. I feel like there could have been a bit more blood. The blood that does come out of them feels a bit minuscule, but knowing YouTube, I think I know the reason why they didn't. This section is just intense. The screams of Guts as he dissolves into more rage, not even yielding when he loses his helmet, eyes glowing red and all, it's simply amazing. Once Dimitri's had enough though, he goes for the crit and slams Guts down to the ground with a stab to the chest. Now, the blow isn't as fast as I want it to be in all honesty. I feel like they could have just lingered on Guts floating a bit longer and have Dimitri come flashing down and bring Guts down with a lot more force. And I will also admit that him walking away also looks kind of weird, cause he just kind of slides away while also walking. That was the two minor complaints I was talking about earlier. But it barely even matters when what happens directly after leads into one of the best endings in any death battle ever. Guts gets back up because the Berserker armor is making him. All he's able to do is break Eredbar in half before stopping completely with the last drop of his blood spilling out. His eyes now not red anymore, white and blank, meaning that Guts, not being controlled by the Berserker armor, is gone. And according to my minimal knowledge on Berserk, once Guts dies, a wave of demons will come for him and force his soul down to damnation in the depths of hell. Hearing this and seeing the shadow of those demons coming to claim him, you'd think that this is it for Guts. All that hard work, slaving away at killing every demon he could just to get revenge on Griffith was for nothing. It ended here, where he will be sent to suffer forever. Granted, that is a very berserk thing to do, but it's not what happens. Dimitri notices how Guts is nothing more than a man who has suffered, being haunted by his own demons, giving everything just to stay alive and find some sort of peace. And instead of letting Guts suffer in this perdition, he goes on and finishes the fight for him, vowing to not let the demons touch his soul as Guts still stands there, being kept up by the Berserker armor, still refusing to let him go. Dimitri is the only one out of these two to actually find a happy ending in his own series. So it's nice that he allows Guts to go on and not just find peace, but eternal peace. After everything he's been through, his life being tragedy after tragedy, he gets to rest and finally stop his slaughter. It's the kind of ending Deku vs. Asta should have been, and God, an ending that isn't just emotional or sad, but also heartfelt. That is why I consider it to be a perfect ending of Death Battle, and that's why this episode is sponsored by Betterhelp. Oh my goodness, what an amazing episode. I know it's kind of sudden, and I usually don't like giving these scores out to episodes that just released, but screw it, 10 out of 10. It has a few flaws, but none of them actively bring it down. What an amazing thing the Death Battle team cooked up. I'm so proud to be a part of this community. I'm so happy that everyone is enjoying it just as much as me. I love Death Battle. I don't even know what else to say about it. It's just peak. And I still have a feeling that it's going to be topped later down the line in the season. What an episode. And then there's the next time, which certainly is a matchup. Look, the only reason I'm disappointed with this matchup happening is that we literally just had a Marvel vs. DC fight 1 episode ago. Let alone the fact that it's another high-scale Cosmic Tier 1, which bore me out of my mind. I get why they do these fights. And I feel that maybe some people overreact to Marvel vs. DC fights getting announced. I'm just saying that we've had a lot of them this year. Like I said, however, I'm not mad. After the reveal, I was actually surprised by how many fans it really had. I know people weren't that huge on Martian Manhunter vs. Piccolo or Vision, and that also goes for me. I'm not very keen on those matches either, but I was just taken aback by how some people really loved this matchup. And, you know, props to them. I'm really happy they got the matchup they loved so much. And hey, I love John and Silver Surfer both, so I'd consider it a win too. The only thing that's tainted this matchup so far is the placement. I'm excited to see what they do with it. Part of me is kind of sad that Frieza vs. Silver Surfer won't happen, but I already kind of knew that from the get-go. That's always just been a guilty pleasure matchup of mine. I'll look forward to it, and I'll look even more forward to the episode that's coming directly after it. If you know, you know. If you haven't already, go check out Capsirus' video. He says he looks like Dimitri, and just nobody mentioned the fact that Fargus is very possibly a British nation. And also, another thing I wanted to mention, if you've been looking at my community notes, I put out something that say I might start skipping some reviews, and that's really only because I want to focus on other big projects. There's really no other reason, honestly. So, it's most likely not going to be going away. And also, I don't want y'all to think that I don't like making these reviews, because I do. It's just those bigger videos, I just enjoy making them more, I guess. Actually, no, a better way of putting it is Those bigger videos are what I think define this channel. The Home Alone video, the John Wick video, all the big season rankings, the upcoming Spider-Man video. Those are what I consider the magnum opuses of this channel. Like I said, they most likely will keep on coming, but I just wanted to explain that to y'all a bit more. Cool? Cool. Alright, I was gonna try and rush this review a little bit, but it kinda turned out a bit longer than I was expecting, so guess I'll just end that here. I was planning on doing this after I got my Season 3 ranking out of the way. By the way, I haven't really announced that on YouTube. Again, plug my Twitter, because I announced it on there. So if you follow me on there, you would have known. But yeah, I just finished writing the script for it. Now all I have to do is record and edit it. So I might be able to get it out this weekend. Maybe. No promises. But I just decided to get this review done first, because why not? Anyways, I'm gonna go work on that now. Bye!